Welcome, everyone. My name is Jose Aliaga.
I'm Matt Marco. Welcome to the Aliaga Marco Show. And Jose, one thing that has been very impressive is the rollout of this vaccine, which is an amazing accomplishment by President Trump in Operation Warp Speed.
Yes, I do agree. And we have to give a lot of
kudos. Let me tell you something, Jose. This shows you the advantage of having a businessman as President of the United States. It's very similar to what he did when he had a big need for PPE and ventilators and all that. He put together an amazing public-private partnerships with private industry, with the federal government to get things done. And with Operation Warp Speed, it's phenomenal. Before that, the last vaccine that was developed, which was for the Ebola virus, which started during the Obama-Biden administration back at it took 5 years for them to develop a vaccine for that. That's through all the slow approval processes and all that. President Trump, with Operation Warp Speed, took all the risk and all the red tape and these regulations, shortened them all up, took the risk out of it so these pharmaceutical companies could go forward and develop these vaccines quickly without having to go step by step, making an investment and then seeing if it worked, and this before committing the funds needed. Because President Trump has that business mind, Jose, we were able to get a vaccine in 7 months. It's unbelievable, and people are getting shots in the arms now while we speak.
That's right, Matt. And it shows how the business of private sector works. And Donald Trump innovated a new concept how to work the federal government with the private sector and get the results and get the job done. Something the previous administrations couldn't deliver the results that we see in today.
It's never been done before. And normally, a pharmaceutical company would wait until they got approved that the thing worked and then got the approvals, and then they would start committing the money to start manufacturing. It would be months and months and months after approvals before they would start building up production and all that. What Donald Trump did with Operation Warp Speed, Secretary Azar, who came from the drug industry, it was just a phenomenal accomplishment. And the sad thing is the press covering that, they don't give any credit to what happened or acknowledge what took place with Operation Warp Speed. What we have here is a case study that should be studied in the business schools going forward, Jose.
That is true. This new model, new concept should be implemented, not just in America, many other states and other countries, how to deliver, how to work the private sector with the public sector and get the job done. Now, you see, this fake news, CNN, NBC, and everything, they don't tell us the truth for the last 40 years. They cover up the good news and just make up some stories that are not true, some fantasy lines that make people believe that those are true, which is not true. It's so sad, but this is the facts.
You bring up a very good point, Jose, because what we have seen is the media not only not covering the fantastic accomplishments of Donald Trump, the peace and prosperity that he's been bringing and these things we were just talking about, but covering up the corruption of former Vice President Biden, that he was taking bribes and laundering that bribe money through his son. They'd never said anything about this, and now we're finally, after the election, we're starting to hear about that. There's an investigation on this.
It's too sad, but it's true. Finally, after the election, now he's getting investigated. Yes. We have a lot of evidence with the laptop and what they got in the laptop, the FBI. It took so long to be able to, start the investigation. But yeah, you are absolutely right. And it's too sad. There's so much evidence like that. Is that any normal citizens, if they have that same type of problem, they will be in jail by now. But Joe Biden family get away with a lot of things.
And way back, decades ago, we had a vice president of the United States named Spiro Agnew, who had to resign because they found out he was taking bribes. That was Nixon's vice president, and that's how we ended up with Gerald Ford, who eventually became president. So it's a good thing they found out that Spiro Agnew was taking bribes. and that they forced him to resign. The same thing is now what we're finding out with Joe Biden as vice president, was taking bribes, and after he was vice president, but he was basically peddling his influence and getting money from China and Iran, our adversaries, and we find out that he was then laundering that money through his son.
That's very sad, and that's unbelievable what's going on in America. It's sad for me because I came from South America, where we see how communist and socialist operates and work, and never we get the results we get. And I see it happening in America now. There's a lot of corruption, a lot of misleading, in conspiration and working together with some of the fake news.
I learned that when I was with you in Peru, Jose. The number one worry on the Peruvians' minds was corruption. And you guys have so much corruption that I was impressed to see that next year's Supreme Court building was a big courthouse just for corrupt elected officials. And we need something like that in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, we need something like that for sure, especially area for investigate corrupt elected officials. I agree with it.
Now, I'd like to say something else, Jose. As we are doing this episode, it was shortly after the Electoral College has met, and they have now given their uncertified number of votes to put Joe Biden over the top at 270 votes. But the main point is it's not until January 5th that goes before Congress to be certified. So at this point of time of this discussion, it is still unofficial, and there are still a lot of allegations of corruption and malfeasance that took place in the election.
It's too sad to see all this. I mean, I told you before in previous episode, I was in the Cobo Hall. I saw what happened. I see these absentee ballots come after 3:30 in the morning. It's very sad. It's not just me, and I saw so many people in file affidavits, and the testimony are true. And it's not just 1, 10, or 100. It's thousands of people that saw that across America. And it's too sad that we're gonna basically, it seems like validate all those electoral college votes when we see it was probably the most historical still election that we never see in history. And it's sad. I mean, I remember I showed some pictures. I mean, Joe Biden couldn't even get 40 people in a rally.
That's right.
Well, this is a good picture. I mean, good meme that I find on Facebook. And it says, my supporters will burn cities, steal from stores, and attack the police and peaceful protesters. But they will never tamper with election votes. Now, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So if they were that desperate, then they would go to any means necessary to defeat Donald Trump.
Yeah, and you know what, Matt? I knew before this about Antifa and Black Lives Matter, burning cities, loading businesses and all that. You know, now we don't see that anymore.
And here, this is a good one you sent, Jose, which basically sums up what you were saying earlier, that there's no way that Biden got 80 million votes. So Obama got 69 million votes. And are we saying that Biden was more popular? President Trump got more votes than any president in history. He got 10 million more votes than he did in 2016. And it's always been a fact in history, Jose, that when a president running for re-election gets more votes than he did the time before, he always wins. So there's some strange anomalies that happened here, Jose.
Well, it is. Basically, Joe Biden is more popular than Obama, than Ronald Reagan, probably Washington. I mean, who's going to believe this? I mean,
and this is another good meme you sent in relation to that too, Jose. You expect us to believe that Joe Biden ran for president twice and failed, but on his third try gets more votes than any other candidate in history?
I don't know who's going to believe this one, but yeah.
Exactly. So, Jose, there's still time. It's not over. And there's still a chance that Donald Trump can pull this out, because we've seen before. This guy, Donald Trump, is a fighter. The way he has gotten things done during his first term as president has been phenomenal. For example, when he realized that we needed a border wall and the Congress would not support it, he was able to go through the military funding. When he was trying to stop these caravans of these waves of people trying to cross our border from Guatemala all the way up through Mexico, through the border, and the Congress would not do anything to help, he negotiated deals with the Mexican government, with the Guatemalan government, to stop them and have them stop them. So the man's a problem solver. And now we have a problem with a corrupted election, and I am sure that being the problem solver that Donald Trump is, he's going to find a way.
True. He's very smart. He did a fantastic job. I mean, in the last 4 years, what I see before COVID-19, which he also did really well with, in comparison to other countries, our economy was doing terrific, really well. Stock market was doing well, 401ks were booming, everything was doing really well. And during COVID-19, he did a very good job to take care of the country, to secure the vaccine. The results are, I don't see any other president around the world that did such a great job as Donald Trump.
And we're recovering well after all the lockdowns. And the problem has been, and we can talk about this another time, Jose, but you've got these governors of these Democrat governors that are locking down their states. We're under a similar type thing here in Michigan with Gretchen Whitmer. They've locked down their states. They're wrecking their economies. She's told the restaurant industry you can't have people dining in. Whereas in other states, they're doing much better. In Florida with Governor DeSantis, their restaurants are operating. There's no more evidence that that's more of a contagion problem, but yet their economy is thriving as compared to Michigan. But Donald Trump has made the United States more competitive by lower taxes, lower regulations, and now you see that when these lockdowns are over, the country bounces back faster than any other country or we have ever done in history, Jose. We've seen a bigger recovery in unemployment than at any other time because we are more competitive thanks to President Trump.
True. The business mind and the results that he brought to the table during the last 4 years is positive for our country. I mean, I never see our country doing so well from the last past 4 years. It's unbelievable. I went to Peru. I was visiting there, and they were like, people were saying they're wishing they have a president like Donald Trump down there.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, Jose, hopefully things we'll have better things to report the next time. We'll be curious to see how things are progressing now. I'd like to remind people to subscribe if they want to get more content like that. Hit the bell. And until the next time, thank you everybody for tapping in and seeing the Aliaga Marco Show.
Thank you, everyone. And also we have a page on Facebook about the Aliaga Marco Show. You can find us on Facebook, give us a like, or like Matt says, also you can click on the bell and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.
Hasta luego, Jose.
Hello.
Adios.